Chicago sits on one of the Great Lakes. Why am I paying $6? Let me drink some of this water better taste like gold. This water better have every herb, every mineral that my body needs. I'm going to drink my $6 Chicago water. Y'all have a lake right across the street. If Chicago has a lake right across the street, if Chicago has a lake right across the street, y'all can get fresh water from the lake. Y'all can get fresh water. Why in the hell am I paying $6 for how many ounces? 16.9 ounces of water is $6. Can somebody tell me how much I'm paying an ounce? How much am I paying an ounce? Let me drink my $6 Chicago downtown theater district water. I hate to say this. I hate to say this. I do not want to say this. But this damn water I just drank wasn't worth $6. It was worth $60. Chicago, I take back my words. That water was some of the cleanest, freshest water I've ever had in my life. Either I'm thirsty, or Chicago might just have the best water in the country. Now, let's get ready to understand, overstand, and understand this message tonight. Let's get ready to understand, overstand, and understand my message to the Black church tonight. First of all, for all my brothers, stop worrying about me taking pictures with my beautiful African sisters. I'm getting sick and tired of the beta males commenting on my photos with my beautiful African sisters. Let us do us. We not bothering nobody. It's just some innocent brotherly and sisterly Black conscious revolutionary love. That's all it is. That's all it is. Some innocent brotherly and sisterly Black conscious love. Stop hating on my photos and go take some pictures with some women who might want to take some pictures with you. You are not me. It's okay for me to take pictures with the queens because I serve the community. I fight for the children. I raise the consciousness. I'm building institutions. You don't do what I do. So you don't get the privileges I get because you don't put in the work that I put in. So if you a little upset because I'm taking pictures with 5'5", extra thick in the thighs, from butter almond to butter pecan to African lemonade to African vanilla to sweet brown sugar to hot cinnamon to warm peanut butter to full-figured fudge, mind your damn business. When you become the most influential Black scholar in the world, when you become the most relevant Black scholar in the world, when you become the #1 Pan-Africanist in the world, when you become the #1 conscious personality in the world, when you become 6'3", 260, 6 degrees from North Philly, then you can take all the pictures you want at the Bantu Fest. But until you are me, sit your ass down and enjoy the show. I got 2 more $6 waters. I got 2 more $6 Chicago waters. Let's talk about the black church. A pastor was robbed today of nearly $500,000 in jewelry as he gave his Sunday sermon. There were black women in there. There were black children in there. There were black elders in there. There were black men in there. Here's what I want to say to the black church. I hope every pastor is listening. If you went to church today, call your pastor and tell him he needs to turn on King Kong consciousness right now. For all you Sunday school Negroes, call your pastor, your deacon, your bishop, your deaconess, the first lady of the church. Tell them to turn on Dr. Umar Facebook, Dr. Umar Instagram. Tell them right now at 11:50 p.m. Central Standard Chicago time, turn on Dr. Umar Facebook, turn on Dr. Umar Instagram. I have a message for the black church tonight. First of all, I am happy that the pastor and his family are safe. I am happy that the congregation at that Brooklyn church is safe. I am happy that it appeared by the video that I was sent that nobody was harmed during the course of the Brooklyn robbery inside that Brooklyn church today. And I'm happy that those brothers who robbed the pastor did not injure anyone, did not harm anyone. Thank you, brothers, for that. There were children there. There were women there. You still had no right to pull out guns in the presence of our women and children, but I am still thankful you didn't hurt anybody. But here's what I want to say. In 2015, Dylan Roof walked into Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina and murdered 9 Africans, including 6 mothers. Dylan Roof walked into a church in Charleston, South Carolina, Mother Emanuel, and murdered 9 Africans, including 6 mothers. I'm trying to understand why we still have black churches who don't have security. I'm trying to understand why we have black churches that still don't have armed guards. I'm trying to understand why we still have black churches who are living in some sort of imaginary fairy tale where they don't think that the safety of their congregation is in danger because they claim to be doing God's work. The black church, every black church, mega church, small church, medium church, you need a security force. You need a security team. You need regular armed guards. That robbery in Brooklyn was too easy. That robbery in Brooklyn was too easy. The murder of Dylan Roof's murder of our elders in Charleston, South Carolina was too easy. Why do we still have churches without security? Why do we still have black churches were bombed and burned to the ground for nearly 400 years? Black churches were bombed and burned to the ground for nearly 400 years. You got white folk running into black churches, killing black folks. Black pastors were some of the original Africans to be hanged first because they were some of the most literate. So the black clergy was always a target of white supremacy. The black clergy was always a target of white supremacy. I'm trying to understand, in 21st century America, how can you be a black church in 21st century America and you don't have no security? Can somebody help me understand, and understand how a black church in 21st century America doesn't have security? I have security everywhere I go. And I know my people love me, but there's always a few who don't. So if I have security as one man wherever I go, if I have security as one man wherever I go, if you have a whole church where you collecting money and you showing off materialism, why in the hell do you think you are safe from danger? And I got news for the black church. And I don't wish no harm on no church, no pastor, no congregation, but I got news for the church. The black church is the new bank in the black community. I said the black church is the new bank in the black community. What I mean by that, these young brothers who have grown up poor, unemployed, public assistance, father in jail, mother on drugs, or mother doing her best, but she can't make all the ends meet. These young men out here struggling in the ghettos of black America who have sat by and watched black pastors get rich off the poverty pennies of their grandmothers. These young black men are sick and tired of watching black pastors and black bishops and black preachers get rich off the poverty pennies of their mothers and grandmothers. And now these young black men are beginning to turn on the one institution that was always sacred ground for black America. I said these young brothers are going to start robbing churches now. They are going to start robbing churches. This I fear, and I don't want this. I don't want this, but I have to tell the truth. I don't believe this is the last time we're going to see a church robbed by young black brothers. I don't think this is going to be the last time we see a church get robbed by young black brothers. The black church is the new bank. I said the black church is the new bank. And if you are a black church and you collecting money and you showing off your watches and showing off your Mercedes and showing off your Benz and showing off your $1,000 suit, and you black women coming in there with your $500 hairstyles and your $1,000 high heels, I don't want no harm to come to nobody in my family. I love all my people. Christian, Muslim, Jehovah's Witness, I love my people. But what I'm telling you is these young brothers are sick and tired of watching the black church rob black people blind. I'm not saying this pastor was guilty of that. I'm not saying this pastor is guilty of that. I don't know that church. I don't know that pastor. For all I know, that could have been a very down-to-earth church that did not take in a lot of revenue. I cannot pass judgment on that pastor. And I'm glad he is safe and his wife is safe and his congregation is safe. And I'm glad those young brothers exercise enough discipline not to harm nobody. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the black church. You cannot talk about you are doing God's work. How in the hell are you doing God's work when you have a church in the ghetto. You are expecting poor mothers and grandmothers in the ghetto to donate to your church. And then you take this money that comes to you from poor black women in the ghetto, and you don't use none of that money to rebuild the ghetto. You don't use none of that money to empower the ghetto. You don't use none of that money to employ our children. You don't use none of your Jesus money. You are not using Jesus's money to serve Jesus's children. You are buying homes in white neighborhoods. You buying airplanes. You going on fancy vacations. You Negroes are driving Mercedes Benzes, Cadillac trucks, BMWs. You are wearing $5,000 suits, $2,500 suits, $1,000 suits. You wearing $100,000 watches. I'm not saying anybody should be robbed. I am not saying anybody should be robbed. I'm saying if you are bold enough, to walk into a black ghetto, claim you are about the community. If you are bold enough to walk into a black ghetto and claim you are about the community, drive an expensive luxury car, wear luxury clothes, luxury watch, luxury shoes, and you claim to be doing the Lord's work, and we don't see the community benefiting at all. We don't see the community benefiting at all. We don't see the black community benefiting at all from the money that the black church takes from the ghetto. I hate to say it. We are in an economic crisis. We are in an economic crisis. And these young black brothers in our cities are sick and tired of watching the pastor live high up on the hog while he struggles. Black churches, please get you some security. Black churches, please get you some security. Black churches, please get you some security. And I want to say this. I'm talking to my beautiful black women. I'm talking to my church-going sisters, my church-going mothers, my church-going queen mothers. Listen to me, ladies. Listen to your brother, Dr. Umar. If you go to a church that does not have security, if you go and worship at a church where there is no security, if you go and worship at a church that doesn't have any armed guards, you go to a church that doesn't have a security force, don't go back to church no more. Find you another church. You cannot afford to be traumatized, beaten, or robbed at gunpoint because your pastor isn't security conscious. Black woman, listen to me. There were children in that church in Brooklyn today. There were children in that church in Brooklyn today. Those children might be forever traumatized by what they saw. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. And I don't want to see no black woman traumatized. I don't want to see no black elders traumatized. I don't want to see no black children traumatized. Stop going to church that do not take your security seriously. Don't go to churches that don't take your security seriously. We are living in an economically desperate time. We have a whole generation of young black men and women. We have a whole generation of young black men and women who don't have a problem killing or stealing. Let me say it again. We got a whole generation of black children who don't have a problem killing or stealing in order to eat to live. And as you saw in Brooklyn today, they are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. They are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. They are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. And I want to say this to the black church. I don't want no harm to come to no church or no church goers, no church leaders. I want you to get security. Stop being so damn cheap. How you got $100,000 car and you ain't got no security in your church? How you living in a $500,000 home in a white suburb and you ain't got no security for your church? How you got $100,000 Rolex watch? You got on a $100,000 Rolex watch and you ain't got no security? I don't understand this. You got on a $5,000 suit and you ain't got no security. Let me say this. My security at my events is not there mostly for me. My security at my events is there for the people. Security ain't about you, pastor. Security ain't about you, bishop. Security ain't about you, deacon. Security ain't about you, deaconess. Security is to protect the people who come out to support you. When I go to Toledo, there will be security to protect the people who come to see me. When I go to Cleveland, there will be security there to protect the people who came to see me. Security is to protect the people who come to see you. How you got all this money and all this expensive jewelry and you ain't got no damn security? I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, South Carolina, 2015. Now let me go deeper. Let me go deeper. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. But I do want to say this. You have black churches that have been pimping the black community for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Let's be honest. The black church is a multi-billion-dollar institution. We give the black church $3 billion on average every Sunday. Excuse me, $3 million. The black church receives $3 million every Sunday in America, collectively speaking. 50 states, 50 million Africans. 50 states, 50 million Africans. 50 states, 50 million Africans. If we are giving the black church $3 million every Sunday, and you ain't got no schools, $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no jobs. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no banks. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no hospitals. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no supermarkets. If the black community is giving the black church $3 million every Sunday, and the black church isn't doing anything for black people, you can make the argument. I'm not making the argument, but you can make the argument, and I'm not making the argument. You can make the argument that karma is coming to the black church for practicing capitalism instead of spirituality. I said, you can make the argument that karma is coming to the black church because you have been practicing capitalism instead of spirituality. Is karma coming to the black church because you've been practicing capitalism over spirituality? Let's be honest. How many black churches are helping black men get jobs? How many black churches are helping homeless black women find housing? How many black churches are stopping the violence in the neighborhood? How many black churches are helping people build businesses? How many black churches are fighting against racism and systemic oppression? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? These young brothers and sisters, what they call them, Generation Z? Somebody help me out. Is this Generation Z? I think we up these Generation Z. They don't give a damn about what you preaching. They don't give a damn about what you teaching. All they see is the pastor eating, his wife is eating, his family is eating, the bishop is eating, the deacon is eating, and his family is starving. The black church is no longer off limits. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I don't want to see crime and robbery in the black church. What happened in Brooklyn today was unacceptable. What happened in Brooklyn today was a travesty. No black pastor should be robbed while preaching, but it speaks to the fact the Brooklyn robbery today in church speaks to the fact that the black church has turned its back on the black community. And because the black church has turned its back on the black community, the children of the community are now targeting the black church for economic justice. The black church has turned its back on the black community, and now the children of the black community is targeting the black church for economic justice. You better stop coming to church with your Rolex on. You better stop pulling up in a Mercedes. You better stop driving through the hood with a damn Cadillac truck. Them days is over. The pastor is no longer safe from community violence. The church is no longer safe from community violence. I'm sorry this is happening. I'm sorry the pastor got robbed. And I'm not judging him because I don't know him. But we all know every city got pastors who are hustling the community. Chicago got pastors hustling the community. Philadelphia has pastors hustling the community. Los Angeles has pastors hustling the community. Florida, North Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Maryland, Connecticut, New York. Every black community has a handful of parasitic black churches. They exist to exploit the money from the people. You have black churches whose sole purpose is to get as much money as they can. And the children of the 21st century, Generation Z, the millennials, they are ready to collect. Brooklyn is only the beginning, and I'm telling black women right now, I'm telling black elders, don't take your children to church if there's no serious security. You cannot afford to go to church if there is no serious security. You cannot go. And I want to fault every pastor in America. I'm going to fault every black pastor in America who is asking black people to come worship in your church, and you don't even care enough about those black people you're asking to come worship in your church to have security for them. If I can have security at my events for the people who come out to support me, you can have security in your church for the people who come out to support you. And you getting way more money than I am. It is no excuse for a black church not to be serious about protecting the life and safety of the black people who come out to support them. The black church is no longer off limits. That pastor got robbed for almost $500,000 in jewelry. It's a new day in black America. Y'all better start locking the front doors to the church. You better start locking the back doors of the church, because let me tell you, and again, I'm going to thank those brothers, not for robbing the pastor, but I'm going to thank them for not harming the congregation, because you know what they could have did? Thank God they didn't. But do you know what they could have did? Thank God they didn't. But do you know what they could have did? They could have robbed everybody inside the church. They didn't have to stop at the pastor. They did not have to stop at the pastor. They could have robbed every elder, every mother, every father. They could have took the Jordans off your children's feet, your daughter's earrings out of her ear. They could have robbed the whole damn church. Stop going to church if there is no security. Stop going to church if there is no security. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Somebody inside the church I got the feeling that some of these church robberies are set up from the inside. I think there's an inside man working with the goons to get these black churches robbed. I think there's an inside man working with the goon squad to get these churches robbed. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. See, people are losing their respect for the black church because everybody sees that the black church is a business. People are losing their respect for the black church because everybody sees that the black church is now a business. When Dr. King was around, black church was a service. When Nat Turner was around, black church was a service. When Frederick Douglass was pastoring up in New York, black church was a service. When Bishop Turner was around, black church was a service. Black church is no longer a service. Black church is a business. Black church is no longer about spirituality. Black church is about capitalism. So the way these young brothers are looking at the church, they like, that's not God in there. How can that be God's house? How can that be God's house when everybody in this neighborhood is broke, hungry, and unemployed? But the pastor living good, his family living good, his son living good, his wife living good, the people on the choir living good, the deacons is living good, the bishops is living good, and I'm living in hell? How can that be God's house? That ain't God's house. That's a house of hypocrisy. In fact, the way they see it, they think they're doing God a service by robbing the black church. Listen to me. Listen to me. Understand, overstand, and understand. You got these young folks, they like, wait a minute. If that church is full of hypocrites, if that church is full of hypocrites, if that church is full of people who claim to be doing God's work and all they doing is robbing the poor, If that church is full of people who claim to be doing God's work and all they do is rob the poor, maybe I'm doing God a service by going in there and robbing the church. Maybe God wants me to go in there and rob this den of thieves. They say there's no honor amongst thieves. So if the pastor is a thief, if the preacher is a thief, if the bishop is a thief, if the deacon is a thief. I'm not disrespecting the churches who do God's work. I'm not disrespecting the churches who do God's work. I'm not disrespecting the churches who do God's work. I'm saying for the hypocritical churches. For the hypocritical churches, for the hypocritical churches who talk Jesus, but they only care about money. For the hypocritical church, that a den of thieves cannot be a sanctuary of God. A den of thieves cannot be a sanctuary of God. A den of thieves cannot be a sanctuary of God. And so all I'm saying is if your church is a den of thieves, if your church is a den of thieves, if what you got came from stealing from black folks, if what the black church has came from stealing from black folks, if what the pastor has came from stealing from black folks, what do you say to a group of young brothers who hungry, got kids to feed, who say if they stole it from the community, why can't I go steal it back and feed my family? If the black church stole their money from our community, how am I wrong to go into the church and steal it back? I ain't shoot nobody. I ain't stab nobody. I ain't punch nobody. I ain't stomp nobody. All I did was say, get down and lay down. In fact, you know what they call it? They don't call it robbery. They call it reparations. They don't call it robbery. They call it reparations. They don't call it robbery when they go into the black church. They call it spiritual reparations. The black church been robbing black folks since Dr. King died, ain't been doing nothing for the black community. So these brothers are coming in to get their spiritual reparations from the den of thieves. I don't support it. I don't encourage it. I don't condone it. But what I am saying, it's a new day for the black church. The black church better check itself. The black church had better check itself, had better get some security. And I'm telling all my beautiful African sisters and elders, do not go to church if they do not value your security. Do not go to church if they do not value your life. Do not take your children to church unless you are absolutely certain that you're going to get out of there and your children are going to get out of there safe. I'm not judging nobody. I'm just only telling the truth. Let me drink some more of my $6 water. But Chicago, I will be back. Chicago, I will be back. Chicago, I will be back 1 week before the second annual Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy Festival. Chicago, I will be back 1 week before the second annual Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy Festival. I will be in Washington Park here in Chicago on Monday, September the 5th. I will be in Washington Park here in Chicago on Monday, September the 5th for the International Festivals of the Arts. I will be speaking at the Authors Pavilion, and I will hopefully have the second edition of my first book, Psychoacademic Holocaust with me, and I will definitely have the new book, Black Parent Advocate. So if you miss me today at the Bantu Fest, and if you missed me yesterday at the Bantu Fest, I will be back in Chicago in exactly 5 weeks. I will be back in Chicago in exactly 5 weeks for the International Festival of the Arts. Toledo, Ohio, you are up next. Toledo, Ohio, you are up next. Toledo, Ohio, I will see you on Thursday, August 11th. Toledo, Ohio, I will see you on Thursday, August 11th. Toledo, Ohio, I will see you on Thursday, August 11th. Free event. Detroit, drive to Toledo. Detroit, drive to Toledo. Detroit, Toledo is only 40 minutes. Detroit, Toledo is only 40 minutes. Cleveland, I will see you on August 19th, Marcus Garvey Day. Cleveland, I will see you on August 19th, Marcus Garvey Day at the African American Museum of Cleveland. New York City, I will see you in Harlem on Garvey's birthday, August the 17th. New York City, I will see you in Harlem on Garvey's birthday, August the 17th. Newark, New Jersey, I will see you on Saturday, August the 13th at Source of Knowledge Bookstore, Marcus Garvey celebration. Newark, New Jersey, I will see you on Saturday, August the 13th, Source of Knowledge Bookstore in New Jersey, Marcus Garvey birthday. So we got Newark, New Jersey, Garvey Day on August the 13th. We got Harlem, New York, Garvey Day on August the 17th. We got Cleveland, Ohio, Garvey Day on August the 19th. And then we have Nat Turner Land, brothers and sisters. Leo season ends in Nat Turner Land. August the 21st will be the 191st memorial of the greatest Black revolutionary to ever walk on American soil, the Honorable Prophet Nathaniel Turner. Join me in Nat Turner Land on Sunday, August the 21st. Join me on Nat Turner Land where we honor the greatest Black preacher in American history. Nat Turner was the greatest Black preacher in American history. And I want all of you to be there. But make sure I see everybody on Saturday, September the 10th. Make sure all of you are at 601 East 17th Street in Wilmington, Delaware. On Saturday, September the 10th, you are to be at 601 East 17th Street in Wilmington, Delaware for the second annual Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy Festival. Please go to fdmgfestival.com and register tonight. Please go to fdmgfestival.com and register tonight. Make sure you join the FredHamptonGunClub.com. Make sure you join the FredHamptonGunClub.com. Make sure you join the FredHamptonGunClub.com. Make sure you join the new Black Panther Party. Make sure you join the new Black Panther Party. Make sure you join the new Black Panther Party. Make sure you join the Fred Hampton Gun Club and the new Black Panther Party. Hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Send your check or money order payable to the FDMG Academy. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. Hit the Cash App for the shockumentary, $ Dr. Umar Johnson. Hit your Zelle. Hit your Zelle for the shockumentary, 215-989-9858. Hit your PayPal for the shockumentary, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. Brothers and sisters, we are going back to Africa next summer. Get ready. We are going back to Africa. I took 3 years off because of COVID. I took 3 years off because of COVID. I took 3 years off because of COVID. I ain't been to Mama Africa in 3 years. Mama Africa is mad at me. Her favorite son on foreign soil ain't been home in 3 years. I said, Mama Africa is mad at me because her favorite son ain't been home in 3 years. But I'm coming back, Mama. I'm coming back to Africa. We doing Egypt and Ethiopia, Nile River tour. Who's coming with Dr. Umar next summer to the land before time? Who's coming with the Prince of Pan-Africanism to go and see the Great Sphinx of Giza, the Great Pyramid, the pyramids of Khufu? Oh yes, brothers and sisters. Oh yes, we going back to Kemet. We going back to Ethiopia. We going to visit the shrine of His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. We're going to visit the shrine of Emperor Menelik II. Oh yes. And then we're going to do Senegal in South Africa. That's right. We going back to the Gorée Island slave dungeon. That's right, brothers and sisters. We going back to Nelson Mandela's home, the Apartheid Museum, the Zulu Kingdom. Oh yes, Senegal in South Africa or Ethiopia in Egypt. Senegal in South Africa or Ethiopia in Egypt. Senegal in South Africa. Octavia, you coming with the prince? I think I might just take all sisters with me, brothers. Brothers, I think I might just take all sisters with me on the trip. What do y'all think, ladies? Ladies, do y'all want me to bring some more brothers or do y'all just want to hang out with the prince? I'm asking the Germaniacs. I'm asking my Germaniac queens, do y'all want me to only bring queens? We're going to have a queens only trip with Dr. Umar. Queens only trip with Dr. Umar. Queens only trip with the prince. But yes, we're going back to Africa. Get ready. Good. No coons and no haters. No coons and no haters. No coons and no haters. Queens only. Conscious Singles Convention is coming up. Conscious Singles Convention. Conscious Couples Retreat. We working on it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's not a good Garvey day. It's going to be a great Garvey day. It's not a good Garvey day. It's going to be a great Garvey day. Queens only. One of them trips is going to be Queens only. I don't want no hating ass baiting. Well, I got to bring some brothers. 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 We not crushing no cookies. Cut it out. We are not crushing cookies. We are raising consciousness. We are not crushing cookies. We are raising consciousness. I told you, it is consciousness over the cookies. It is politics over the punani. It is revolution over romance, and it is business before the bedroom. It is consciousness over the cookies. It is revolution over romance. It is business before the bedroom. It is politics before the punani. Chicago, I'm glad I came to the Bantu Fest. All the love, all the hugs, all the support. So many brothers came up to me today, y'all. I got to say this before I let y'all go. I got to say this right now. This is why I love Chicago. This is why I love Chicago. And you know what I want to do in Chicago? Can we have a gang summit? I want to facilitate a gang summit in Chicago. Can we get all 125 leaders of the Chicago gangs in one room with Dr. Umar? Fred Hampton tried to do this. 50 years ago, the great Fred Hampton tried to do this. I want to know, I'm talking to my gang leaders right now. I'm talking to my Chicago gang leaders right now. There are 125 gangs in America. Excuse me, in Chicago. There are 125 gangs in Chicago. There are 125 gangs in Chicago. Is it possible for all 100, the leaders, only the leaders, is it possible for the leader of each of the 125 gangs in Chicago to have a sit down with the Prince of Pan-Africanism and see if we can agree on a political platform to liberate Black Chicago? I think those gangs care about our people. I think the gangs in Chicago, some of them been getting a bad rap. I think some of them been doing work in the community. Can we get all 125 gangs in Chicago to meet the leader, not the whole gang, the leader of the gang, the leader, one leader from all 125 gangs in Chicago? I would like to do it, because if Chicago can rise, Black America can rise. If we can get the gangs in Chicago to work together, if we can get the gangs in Chicago to work together, if we can get the gangs in Chicago to work together, I believe that would set off a ripple effect across Black America, and we could unite Black America if the gangs will unite, if the gangs will cooperate in Chicago, if the gangs will sit down and talk, if the gangs will unify and organize in Chicago, I think Chicago can lead Black America. I believe Chicago can lead Black America. I believe Chicago can lead Black America. I believe Chicago can lead Black America. Oh, yes. Maybe we got to get some of the Chicago rappers. Maybe we got to get Little Dirk. Much respect to him. We got to get Chief Keef. Much respect to him. Bring some of the Chicago rappers and let's have a gang summit with the leaders. Get Kanye West, get Common Sense, get Chance the Rapper, get all your Chicago celebrities together, and let's have a summit with the leaders of all 125 Chicago gangs. I don't believe in the word impossible. 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 I think we can do it. Kanye West, Chance the Rapper, Common Sense, Little Dirk, Chief Keef, all the other Chicago brothers, let's sit these gangs down and come to a truce for Black liberation. Let's sit these gangs down and come to a truce for Black liberation. Chicago made me who I am. Chicago put Dr. Umar on the map. Chicago made me #1 in Black consciousness, along with New York City. So whatever I can do to help Chicago rise, I'm going to do it. I'm Chicago's favorite adopted son. I'm Chicago's favorite adoptive son. We got to get the gangs together. We can't be scared of our children, y'all. We can't be scared of our children. If they lose, we lose. We have to politicize the gangs. Remember Chairman Fred Hampton, who was murdered December the 4th, 1969. Remember Chairman Fred Hampton, who was murdered December the 4th, 1969. Remember Chairman Fred Hampton. Remember Emmett Till. Remember Mammy Till Mobley. Remember Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is buried in the same cemetery with Emmett Till and Mammy Till Mobley. If Chicago can do it, Black America can do it. If Chicago can do it, Black America can do it.